Alvar Emberemanar Jiyar Tiruvadigalе Sharanam, Jiyar Tiruvadigalе Sharanam. A very important and practical question. It is said that we should remain in the shade or the shadow of a Uttama Sri Vaishnava. Is it possible these days? That is the question. First of all, we have to understand very important basic point. Whatever our Purvacharyas have said, that is possible. They would not have said what is impossible. Now, we have to understand who is a Uttama Sri Vaishnava. Uttama means topmost. Sri Vaishnava means one who is fully surrendered to Bhagavan, having Bhagavan as the Upayam and Upayam. That is, Bhagavan as the means and Bhagavan as the goal. Now, we may not be able to find Uttama Sri Vaishnavas as it was seen back in the old days of Bhagavad Ramanuja, Puratalvan, Mudaliyandan, Manavala Mamunigal, and so many other acharyas. They were all topmost Sri Vaishnavas, best among the Bhagavatas. They were prime examples of how a Sri Vaishnava too should remain and live. We may not be able to find exact same level of Sri Vaishnavatvam in the current day Sri Vaishnavas. But we still have many Sri Vaishnavas who are very firm in their understanding about our Sampradaya principles, such as Bhagavan as the Upayam and Bhagavan as the Upayam. And also, we are looking at Sri Vaishnavas, and when we look at them, we should not think that, oh, he is not like Bhagavad Ramanuja, he is not like Puratalvan. We should see how we are, and in comparison, how other Sri Vaishnavas, the topmost Sri Vaishnavas of today are. If we are honest enough, we will accept that we have lots of defects, lots of worldly desires, lots of shortcomings, and so on. And when we look at other Sri Vaishnavas, we should always see their good qualities, their auspicious aspects, and we should give great respect to that. Instead of trying to find faults in Sri Vaishnavas and discard them, saying that they are not Uttama Sri Vaishnavas, first we have to understand that others are always better than us. There are good qualities in other Sri Vaishnavas, and we have to take inspiration from those Sri Vaishnavas who have very many good qualities. When we get that understanding, then the next step will be possible. Now, being in the shadow of a Uttama Sri Vaishnava, what does that mean? That means we have to have total faith in that Sri Vaishnava, in such Sri Vaishnava's qualities, their anushtanam and their instructions, and we have to follow them, keeping them as the role model. That is what it means. So we must have close connection with such Sri Vaishnavas. We cannot just remain aloof and away from such Sri Vaishnavas and think that, oh, we cannot go close to them, we cannot consider them to be our mentors, we cannot take guidance from them. We have to approach them, we have to spend time with them, we have to try to understand how they do their anushtanams, how they remain noble, and once we get close to them and once we understand their greatness, then naturally we will take shelter of them, we will take guidance from them even more, and we will remain total servitors to such Sri Vaishnavas. So it is a long process. First of all, we have to identify such Sri Vaishnavas by moving closely with them. Once we identify and once we understand their greatness, we have to remain truthful as per our Purvacharya's instructions, and we have to surrender unto them, we have to submit ourselves to them and take full guidance from them. This is how it works. It's a long process, it is not a one-day process. There is mutual reciprocation and interaction. It is not that only the aspiring disciple goes and interacts with the Sri Vaishnava, the noble Sri Vaishnava, and the noble Sri Vaishnava does not reciprocate that affection and love. The Sri Vaishnava, if he is really noble, he will recognize the genuine desire of the aspiring disciple. He will accept that person and he will guide that person. He will fully reform that person also. So it is mutual. We can easily feel such interaction. We can easily feel such emotion by interacting with the topmost Sri Vaishnavas. And once we become comfortable with them, then we can take full guidance and remain under their shadow. Alvar Emberemanar Jiyar Tiruvadigalе Sharanam, Jiyar Tiruvadigalе Sharanam.